The transport craft cut through the icy atmosphere of Tiber. 9. Its engines whining against the frozen wind. Shards of snow lashed against the hull like needles as the ship descended toward the outpost below, a skeletal cluster of structures buried beneath frost and silence. The Kethari Dominion had sent 5 scouts to secure the human settlement after weeks of lost signals. Their orders were simple: assess, report, and prepare for colonization. But as the landing struts dug into the snow, the stillness of the world pressed against their minds like a warning. Commander Vorth stepped out first, his armor exhaling vapor in the cold. The planet's gravity was heavier than expected, pulling each movement into a deliberate act of endurance. Around him, his team spread out in formation. Tvark, the sensor specialist, Lura, the linguist and Xenotech expert, and 2 soldiers, Rin and Caleb, whose plasma rifles hummed quietly in the frost. Vorth's translucent eyes scanned the horizon: gray sky, white wasteland, and the faint silhouette of the human outpost ahead. No movement, he said through the neural link. Proceed. Their footfalls crunched softly as they advanced, leaving brief impressions before the wind erased them. Tvark adjusted the crystalline node on his wrist, scanning for heat or power signatures. Minimal energy readings. The humans abandoned this place weeks ago. His tone was confident, almost dismissive. The Dominion's war with humanity had left countless ruins like this one. Cold, hollow, stripped of life. Yet something about this world felt different. The structures were intact, their doors sealed, lights faintly pulsing beneath layers of frost. Lura brushed snow from a panel near the entrance and found human script burned into the metal. Outpost Tiber 9, Research Division 7. Her voice, usually measured, softened. They studied something here, something they didn't want to lose. Inside, the air was stale but breathable. The hallways stretched in narrow corridors lined with consoles, frozen monitors, and shattered glass. A thin mist of condensation clung to their visors as they moved deeper. Vorth paused at a bulkhead door partially open, its hinges warped by cold. Report, he ordered. Tvark crouched beside a power terminal, inserting a scanning rod. Residual energy in the grid. Someone rerouted the mainline recently, perhaps days ago. Impossible, Rin muttered. The humans are gone. All transmissions ceased. Our long-range scans confirm no life signs. Machines can't lie, Tvark replied quietly. Something used this power. Vorth considered this, then gestured for silence. The faint hum of the wind outside was the only sound. He activated the ship's uplink. Command, this is Scout Leader Vorth of the VOR-ADH unit. Outpost Tiber, 9 appears abandoned. Structural integrity at 70%. No resistance encountered. Continuing inspection. The reply came moments later, faint through the storm's static. Acknowledged, Vorth. Confirm and secure. Dominion claims this site. As the transmission ended, Lura knelt beside a shattered datapad. The screen flickered weakly, showing fragmented human logs. She adjusted her translator and played the last entry. A male human voice, distorted by interference, whispered through the static. Test successful. Cloak integration at 98%. Subject remains undetected, even at 0 range. The recording ended abruptly. Lura's eyes narrowed. Commander, they were developing stealth technology. Organic integrated systems. Vorth's mandibles clicked softly in amusement. Humans experimenting with invisibility? Primitive. They always imitate what they fear. But even as he mocked the idea, the corridor lights flickered. A faint mechanical whine echoed somewhere beyond the steel walls. A sound too precise, too deliberate to be the wind. The soldiers tightened their grips on their weapons. Caleb turned toward the sound, scanning the corner. Nothing moved, only the endless hum of the cold machinery. They continued deeper, finding ration packs unopened, bunks still made, terminals active but locked behind human encryption. The scene felt too preserved, as though the inhabitants had vanished mid-breath. Tvark's sensor pinged intermittently, detecting brief flashes of thermal fluctuation. There, then gone. He recalibrated twice. The readings refused to stabilize. Commander, I'm detecting anomalies. Faint, but environmental. Vorth cut in. Tiber 9's magnetic field interferes with sensors. Focus on the mission. They reached the control chamber, a domed space overlooking the frozen plains. A shattered viewport framed the storm outside, where dusk pressed low and heavy. Lura began cataloging human data drives, sliding them into containment pods. Tvark recalibrated his instruments again, frowning. The readings were closer now, almost beneath them. Caleb's voice trembled slightly. It's like something's breathing in here. Vorth silenced him with a glance. Enough superstition. There are no humans left. He tapped his wrist console. Mark this facility secure. The words hung in the air, final and unchallenged. One by one, the scouts relaxed their stances, weapons lowering as the atmosphere of tension thinned. Lura exhaled, mist fogging her visor. So quiet, she murmured. Almost peaceful. Outside, snow swirled lazily through the twilight. The Dominion banner flickered on Vorth's forearm display, a symbol of victory. Yet even in triumph, a subtle disquiet rippled through the team. Tvar turned once more toward the viewport, uneasy. Commander, he said, his voice low. Are you certain? The sound cut him off. Not loud, barely perceptible. A compressed click, like air snapping under pressure. Vorth's eyes widened, but only for an instant. The back of his skull burst outward in a silent explosion of crimson vapor. His body folded forward, armor clattering against the metal floor. The others froze, confusion turning to terror. Lura screamed something incoherent through the neural link. Caleb ducked behind a console, searching for a target. There was none, only the drifting snow filtering through the broken viewport. Tvark's sensors blared warnings too late. Heat signatures, none. Motion, none. Yet something was there. Something watching. Contact. Rin hissed. Tvark swallowed hard, scanning again, voice trembling. No contact. Nothing visible. Outside, the storm intensified, burying the outpost in white silence. Inside, the team regrouped around their fallen commander, their breaths sharp and uneven. For a heartbeat, everything was still. Then a faint voice whispered through the comms, distorted, human, and close. Outpost, not secure. The words froze them where they stood, echoing in the hollow corridors, carried on a human tone colder than the planet itself. Vorth's body lay crumpled against the console, his pale blood steaming in the cold. For a long, terrible moment, no one moved. The echo of the shot seemed to linger, trapped in the metallic corridors. Tvark's mind raced through possibilities, malfunction, sabotage, internal betrayal, but none fit. No one had fired. No one even saw the projectile. Yet their commander was dead. The Dominion's finest fell by an unseen hand. Everyone down, Rin shouted, voice sharp with panic. The squad scattered, diving for cover behind pillars and machinery. Lura pressed her back to a wall, hands shaking as she clutched her sidearm. What happened? What was that? She whispered through the neural link. Tvark's sensors swept the chamber, his crystalline node pulsing with data streams. No movement detected, no heat signatures. His voice faltered, but the shot came from inside this room. Caleb cursed under his breath. Then where's the shooter? Rin, the most seasoned of the soldiers, crept toward the viewport. Snow gusted through the cracked glass, but nothing moved outside. The horizon remained empty, vast, and cold. Maybe long-range fire, she muttered. Sniper drone? No, Tvark said, his gaze fixed on the readings. Trajectories too precise. Angles suggest the shot originated less than 20 meters away. Silence pressed down like a physical weight. Lura's pulse thundered in her ears. She felt the irrational urge to speak, to fill the void with something human. Or Kethari, anything alive, but before she could, another crack echoed through the air. Caleb's chest burst open in a flash of blue, armor splitting like glass. He fell backward, twitching once before going still. Rin dropped to a knee and fired wildly into the corridor, bolts of plasma searing across the walls. Sparks rained down, filling the air with the stench of scorched metal. The sound of her breathing over the comm was ragged, verging on hysteria. "Stop firing," Tvark hissed. "You'll hit nothing." "I saw something move," she snapped. "You saw fear," he countered. His voice shook despite the rebuke. "We're being hunted." Lura crawled toward the nearest terminal, searching for control access. The station's cameras were mostly dead, but a few interior feeds flickered alive. Each displayed the same image: empty corridors, empty rooms, snow filtering through shattered ceilings. She cycled through them desperately. On the last feed, she caught a blur, just a shimmer, a distortion where light seemed to fold upon itself. Then static. "There," she cried. Something cloaked, moving between sectors. Tvark adjusted his scanner, fine-tuning the frequency. The anomaly appeared faintly, a ripple in the cold air, as if the world itself were breathing. He'd heard of human experiments in adaptive camouflage, but nothing this advanced. "It's using a full-spectrum cloak," he whispered. "Thermal, optical, even neural interference. It's not just invisible, it's silent to our link." Rin's anger curdled into dread. "Then it knows everything. It's listening." A burst of static crackled through their comms, followed by a low voice, unmistakably human, calm and close. "You shouldn't have come here." The words froze them in place. For the first time, Lura understood that this wasn't random violence. This was protection. The outpost wasn't abandoned. It was defended. "Identify yourself," Tvark demanded, though his tone lacked conviction. Silence. Then another whisper, so faint it seemed to slip directly into their thoughts. "Leave while you can." Rin swore and scanned the room again. "He's taunting us." She gestured to Lura. "Pull the schematics. We find a route out." "There's no guarantee he'll let us leave," Lura murmured. The sound of boots shifting on metal interrupted them, a faint scuff just beyond the door. Instinct took over. Rin fired, her plasma bolt illuminating the hallway for a heartbeat. The space was empty. Yet in that instant, she caught a glimpse, an outline, faint as vapor, moving sideways fast. Tvark recalibrated his scanner. "He's circling. He's studying us." Lura's hands trembled as she copied the human research logs into her pack. "We need to leave," she said. "Now." The group moved as one, crouching low, senses stretched thin. Every corridor felt tighter, every shadow deeper. The snowstorm outside roared louder, muffling the world beyond. As they neared the exit hatch, Rin took point, her rifle ready. She turned a corner and vanished mid-step. One blink she was there, the next she was gone. Only a faint mist of blood marked where she had been. Lura screamed. Tvark froze, disbelief clawing at his chest. "Ow!" The human voice returned, softer now, almost weary. "You shouldn't have killed them. They were only scientists." A flicker of realization struck Tvark. This wasn't just defense, it was vengeance. The sniper wasn't protecting the base. He was avenging it. Lura grabbed his arm. "We have to finish the scan and signal command. If he's real, if this technology is..." "Technology won't save us," Tvark interrupted. "He's beyond that." They ducked into the hangar, the storm's icy wind slicing through the open structure. Tvark activated the distress beacon, hoping the orbital relay could still catch it. "Vor ADH to command," he said, voice steady by force of will. "We are under attack. Unknown assailant, cloaked. Repeat, unknown." A flash of movement. The beacon exploded in his hands. He stumbled backward, clutching the ruined device. Lura fired toward the distortion, shouting, but her shots hit only air. The sniper's next round struck the wall beside her head, deliberate, a warning. The message was clear. She froze, breathing hard, then whispered, "Why not kill me?" A long pause followed. Then the voice came again, calm, human, resolute. "Because one of you will tell them I'm still here." The air grew colder. The shimmer vanished into the storm. Tvark and Lura stood motionless beside the broken beacon, surrounded by silence and snow. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Lura said quietly, "He's not defending the outpost. He's defending a memory." Tvark nodded slowly, eyes hollow. "And now he knows we'll bring the war back to him." Outside, The wind howled across the plains, erasing their footprints one by one, until it was as if they had never been there at all. The storm had swallowed the horizon, turning the world into a white, endless void. Lura and Tvark moved through the snow like ghosts, their armor dulled by frost and fear. Each step was deliberate, muffled by the wind that howled across the frozen plains. Behind them, the outpost was a fading silhouette, a tomb for the fallen and a monument to the invisible terror that still lingered within. Their neural link pulsed weakly, strained by interference. Neither spoke aloud. Words felt dangerous, as if sound itself might draw the sniper's gaze. Tvark's mind replayed the voice again and again, each syllable etched into memory. Because one of you will tell them I'm still here. It wasn't a threat. It was a promise. The human hadn't killed them out of mercy. He had spared them with purpose. A living message traveled farther than a corpse. We need higher ground, Lura finally said. Her voice was raw, half swallowed by static. If we reach the ridge, maybe the relay can pick up a signal. He nodded. If he allows it. They climbed the slope, boots sinking deep into powder. The wind screamed around them, slicing through their armor seals. For a moment, Lura wondered if the sniper watched from somewhere unseen, his rifle steady, waiting for the perfect moment to end them both. The thought pressed like a weight on her chest, but she kept moving. Fear had lost its edge. It was now the rhythm of survival. When they reached the ridge, visibility dropped to nothing. Tvark set up a portable beacon, its faint red light flickering through the snow. He tapped the console, fingers numb. Signal's weak, he said, but it might be enough. Lura crouched beside him, clutching the data pod that held the human research logs. If the Dominion retrieves this, they'll know what the humans built here. They'll come back in force. Perhaps that's what he wants, Tvark said. His voice was quieter now, thoughtful. To lure them here, to finish what they started. The beacon hummed softly, cycling through frequencies. For the first time in hours, the silence between them felt fragile, like the calm before another strike. Lura looked at him. You think he's just one man? Tvark hesitated. No, I think he's what they left behind when everything else failed. A remnant of their will to survive. The air shifted, subtle, but undeniable. Both turned sharply. No sound, no movement, but the world felt altered, charged. Lura's hand went to her weapon. He's here. Tvark's sensors blinked uselessly. The interference was total. Don't move, he whispered. He's testing us. A soft crunch of snow echoed behind them. Lura spun, firing a burst of plasma. The light illuminated nothing but swirling frost. Her breath came fast, uneven. We can't fight what we can't see, she said. Then we make him see us, Tvark answered, surprising himself with the resolve in his voice. He reached for the beacon, increasing its power output until the red glow became a flare. You wanted a message, human? Here it is. The wind roared, scattering light and snow alike. For a fleeting second, the shimmer appeared, tall, humanoid, cloaked in distortion. The shape moved with impossible precision, a phantom molded by the storm. Lura's heart hammered. There! Tvark fired, his plasma bolts cutting through the air. One struck close enough to reveal the figure's outline. A human soldier wrapped in adaptive armor, its surface bending light itself. The sniper dropped low, rolled through the snow, and vanished again. A moment later, a shot cracked the air. Tvark staggered backward, armor dented by the impact. The round hadn't pierced, but had nearly done so. He gasped, falling to one knee. Lura lunged forward, dragging him behind a ridge of ice. Stay with me, she hissed. Through the storm, the voice came again, closer now, almost intimate. You shouldn't have brought war here. Lura's rage overcame her fear. You think this war was ours alone? You built weapons, hid secrets, and left them for others to find. You're the reason we came. A long pause. Then, softly maybe, but I'm the reason you'll leave. The next shot came without warning. The flare shattered, plunging them back into shadow. Lura's visor adjusted automatically, switching to night optics, but the world had become a blur of motion and light. She saw the shimmer moving again, fast, too fast. She raised her weapon, but before she could fire, the distortion lunged. The impact threw her to the ground. Her visor cracked, snow flooding in. Through the fracture, she saw the faint outline of a human face. Pale skin, eyes cold and bright beneath a frost-lined mask. He hesitated, rifle aimed at her heart. Tvark rose behind him, knife drawn, and drove it toward the shimmer. The blade met resistance, then pierced something solid. A burst of static filled the air as the cloak flickered and died. The sniper turned, swift and brutal, slamming the rifle but into Tvark's chest. The alien fell hard, gasping, the wind knocked from him. The human stood over them, cloak half failing, revealing flashes of battered armor and a torn insignia marked Ghost 9. His voice was steady, unbroken. "You were warned." Lura stared up at him, blood freezing in her veins. "You're alone," she said. "You can't hold this place forever." He tilted his head, eyes unreadable. "I don't need forever. I just need long enough." He turned away, stepping into the storm. The cloak reactivated, erasing him piece by piece until only the sound of retreating boots remained. Tvark lay motionless for a moment before forcing himself upright. "He spared us again," he whispered. Lura's gaze fixed on the horizon where the shimmer had vanished. "No," she said softly. "He let us go because he wants them to come." The beacon's ruined light flickered once more, then died. Above them, the storm began to thin, revealing the cold shimmer of distant stars. Lura knelt beside Tvark, their breath mingling in the frozen air. "Transmit when the relay clears," she said. "They'll send fleets, weapons, soldiers." "And he'll be waiting," Tvark replied. Somewhere beyond the ridge, unseen and silent, the invisible sniper watched as two small figures disappeared into the snow. His rifle lowered. The wind shifted, and when the next gust came, he was gone again, absorbed into the storm, as if the planet itself had claimed him.